Hi there, this is Andrew. Now basically, before Diana speaks, I've got a message please, and that is that Diana wants questions asked to her, and if you've got any questions that you would like her to address, then please could you send those questions via Facebook to Tony Papard, or alternatively to his private email address, both of which are appearing in the group. And that way Diana has no idea until it is presented to her what question it will be. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Andrew. We had one question sent in from Danielle Francis
Is that to me?
to Diana,
Thank you.
and she's asking, can you ask Diana what she does when she isn't with Andrew?
What a question. Well, first there needs to be an explanation of things, and that is that it is the earth essence, Diana, that channels through Andrew, and all of us have a higher self and a lower self, and the higher self is fully in spirit. She's there. The lower self is what you're hearing now coming through Andrew, and that is the, hopefully anyway, easily recognisable Diana, because if you were speaking to the higher self, it's unlikely that you would understand or certainly relate to her in the same way. So, the higher self, I liked sun worshipping, I liked skiing, so if I want to go skiing, I do so. If I want to go sun seeking, I do so. If I want to do anything, all I have to do is think about it and it manifests. So by example, if your favourite dwelling is a country cottage, then when you transfer to Spirit World, you will live in a country cottage. And it's really relatively that simple. So whereby if I want to visit hospices and hospitals that I did in life, I want to see how they're progressing, well of course I can, because I can be there. And of course, likewise, I'm always with my boys.
Oh, thank you. That clears that up a bit for me as well.
Good.
There's a couple of topical questions. Have you any comments on the Queen's current attitude to Camilla?
One of expected diplomacy, not the easiest situation to find herself in, but a diplomatic woman and accepting of a situation that she, not believing in divorce, has had to credit happening in her family because divorce is rife within her children's lives, unlike her own. So she has had to accept a situation that ideally she'd not wished to, but Charles always made it very clear that HRH Duchess of Cornwall was non-negotiable. And let's be honest, the Queen is his mother, he her eldest son, and she well aware that the arranged, as it was more or less, first marriage, well, we know how that ended, doesn't wish for there to be the scandal of an abdication, for example, which is why she's Queen, and that's all written about and taken care of in my group. For anybody who's interested in royal history, they can read about all that. But she is Queen because her father was suddenly king after the abdication. She doesn't want a repeat of that history because it's left a very, very deep scar, even now, within the monarchy. So she'd hardly like her eldest son to repeat it. And also, of course, as I say, he is her eldest son, and if he has found love, which it seems he has, then rather than abdicate for the woman he loves, isn't it a mother's prerogative that she accepts whoever it is, he does love.
Exactly. Yeah. Moving on, do you have anything to say on the current refugee situation in Europe?
Deplorable, distressing, and quite what's going to happen, anybody's guess. I mean, it's horrendous that all these people, innocent people, many of them, of course there's likely to be insurgents amongst them. This has been thought about and is strongly thought about, but you can't determine that, of course. But for the innocent, they're helpless, literally helpless and vulnerable. And what to do with them? It's exasperating, because countries that initially were going to help have helped, but there's only so much they can do, and they're now closing their borders. And even today I was seeing that people landing in Greece thinking that they'd found their salvation are going to be sent back to Turkey. So they're going on a return ticket, not a one-way trip. So it's a situation which is growing more and more disastrously out of control. And I don't quite know what the solution is. There's going to have to be one, but quite where that comes from and what is decided upon, goodness alone knows. But they're people at the end of the day, and hopefully humanitarianism will be shown towards them for that simple reason. They're people.
Diana, what do you have to say about the recent newspaper report that the Queen complimented you by name for William and Harry?
I was very touched, very touched. She brought a number of points forward in relation to things I had made people aware of, like AIDS and HIV, and saying that perhaps they had something to be thankful to me for after all. So I was very touched by what she said, because it wouldn't be something that was easily said by her.
And the press has been a bit critical of William lately, saying he's not performing enough of his royal duties. Do you have any comment to make on that?
Unrepeatable ones. But no, in seriousness, it's very, very unfair. I have been reading about it, naturally, that will be expected. But, by example, he was accused of not pulling his weight with air emergency ambulance, and yet his employers, the CAA, said of course he is. So that fell on deaf ears, if you like. And then he's been accused of not performing royal duties, and he's also been accused more recently of upsetting the press because he is deciding what photographer goes with him where to take whatever photos are to be taken and then published. Well, he was brought up to resent media intrusion, and that was of course because they hounded me. I've likened to the manner in which the press treated me to being rape, and that was because I was not able to control it. Yes, I did use the press myself, which I've been accused of doing and I admit to doing, when, by example, the press were useful to me to help me promote a charity, a cause that I wanted a focus of world attention upon, i.e. landmines. They were very useful to me. But alternatively, when I didn't want that intrusion, they nevertheless thought, Diana's free range, we can go get her. That is what William and Harry witnessed. So he resents the media and cameras. And he does not want the same treatment that he as a child saw me experience for Catherine, his wife, and certainly not for his children. They are his first priority, and quite rightly so. And I make him right about that. As regards him shirking royal duties, no other royal is in the position he's in, which is one where he's helping to save life. So he needs, as Penny Junor actually has pointed out, he needs to be mentally healthy, mentally alert, physically fit, and it's a job of great responsibility. So therefore, something much more important than going to a film premiere and presenting an award to an actor. And that's not to disintegrate an actor's achievement in gaining that award, but is to say, look, there's other royals that can do that. Catherine is seen regularly now representing them both, as well as the monarchy, on her own, and doing a marvellous job at it. And I'm sure he's enormously proud of her, because I've said before, look how far she's come, and she really has, and she'll continue to do that, because she realises that Wills really loves his job. And to him, it's much more important to save a human life than to hand out a golden gong.
I couldn't agree with you more, Diana. I'm very impressed with William, actually.
They're both marvellous.
And I'm not even a royalist, so I'm saying that as a personal opinion. I mean,
but Harry's a hero figure for Well Child.
Both of them.
All the handicapped children, they absolutely adore Harry. He's their best pal. So yes, I'm very proud of my boys. And going back to the original question, I'm so glad that Her Majesty has recognised that, and that she has thanked me for it. That really has touched me.
I think we might have time for one more question. And in the past, Diana, you've highlighted some of the negative traits on Earth, in particular the youth violence. Have you got any comments on this? Do you see any positive traits emerging?
At the moment, with ISIS and with everything going on, and the increased prejudice, because of course, as I said before, all Muslims are being boxed. They're all ISIS supporters. It's ignorance once again. Man's greatest block, greatest ignorance. That's what man is most guilty of in so many ways. I mean, many people don't believe that I'm channeling through Andrew. Why? Ignorance. And yet they believe in, as you said earlier to us, and it's quite right, they believe that Immaculate Conception brought a baby called Jesus Christ. That's quite acceptable. But spirit channeling through Andrew, that's a little bit too out there. So ignorance, and as long as ignorance survives, then so will violence.
Okay, well thank you. I think that's all we got time for today, but I'm sure we'll be doing another interview.
We will.
In perhaps next month. Thank you very much, Diana.
Thank you.